Now, as far as I can see, this will be part 2. I'm just going to split the video up for the ending here, the finale. One episode, one day. I'm too lazy to remember to upload both the same day, so nah. Tough shit. Here we have, I'm assuming it's the view of the sun. And all the planets revolving around that at a very accelerated rate. Here again we have this prophecy, the one on the legend sword that became the Excalibur, which I threw away uselessly at the final boss there, and yeah, the one from the Mysidian legend and all that jazz. And for some reason we have to see this like 4 times in the game, and I really don't know why it has to be very slow scrolling text each time. Couldn't they just give us a you know, one card to read and be done with it? Now, well, at least this time, like, each time they seem to give us, like, the first few times they give us crystal music, the standard Final Fantasy crystal music, the prelude theme, as it's called in some of the games. This time, they give us a unique theme. I don't remember hearing this track at any other point in the game. I think this is just part of the ending medley theme. And happy music. Yay! And a whirlpool appears out of nowhere to suck up the lunar whale again. And yes, I'm going to keep calling it the lunar whale, even though it's the magical ship in this translation, because I think it's a more apt name for the ship, and the magical ship just seems kind of meh, matter-of-fact and boring. Hey, wait a minute. Ah, transfiguration and teleportation. The text goes automatically, so it's going too fast, I can do nothing about it. Palom? Palom? Where's Palom? Palom? What are you doing, Palom? Who are you talking to? Oh! Well, yeah, you did kill a lot of them. Ah, your blizzard spell. See? Oh, he's going way too fast with this text, but oh well. The text was probably translated differently in the original, and that's where they based the timing on. Wham! Go away, phone. Perverted? Show her my fire rod. Really, game? That's what you decided to do? Oh, go away. Stupid phone. Ask a friend to call at 8 o'clock, see if he wants to do something. Calls at 7:30, interrupts the recording, won't shut up. Yeah, it's pretty much standard now. Anyway, sorry about the interruption there. Lack discipline to be an effective... Well, yeah, it's Edge. He doesn't have any discipline. What kind of self-improvement? What's going on here? Are you trying to run away? Something to be desired? Edge, you're awesome. You really are awesome. Yeah, he's pretty much a younger version of Sid that's even funnier. You know, Edge doesn't have a sharper tongue, to use his words there. And of course, yeah, he's still got the little heart emoticon pulsating for Rydia there, among other things that I won't mention. And he's running away from the throne. Again. And Rydia goes here, though it really does make a lot of sense that she'd go here, even though, you know, she's technically from Mist. There's no one left there for her. You know, there are people, but, Yeah, anyway, so yeah, Edge is definitely a child, like a younger version of Sid with not as sharp a tongue, so he's not swearing as much. But instead of that, they give him, I don't know, more energy, put it that way. And lots of stuff is going on. He says the girl with all the outer beauty in the world. Is Cecil there? No, Cecil is not there. Okay, how did this happen? Why is the king no longer the king and Yang is the king? Why did this happen? Of your stature. Okay. Time for training. So you're going to be king, still lead the training while the king sits here and does nothing. What the hell is the old king doing? Why is he still here? Shouldn't, like, is he... Go retire or something? I don't know. I don't know why they decide to make Yang king. He really is better in a position that doesn't have power. He's definitely a really talented martial artist and a great general. He should be utilized in the positions that he's great at. Not, you know, be the king just because he's the best general they have. That's not a good enough reason to put him in that kind of position. Anyway, we have children running around and other peoples. Oh, so they're going to rebuild the whole castle. We got rid of the scary monsters. Awesome! They really do go through the dialogue a little too quickly here. It's kind of unfortunate. Probably should have actually read the dialogue in one or two of my test fights against the boss. But I just fast forward through it to see if I had a point where I could stop. But, well, whatever. Still thinking about your long-lost love. Huh? She hasn't been lost that long. What the hell? You should be still grieving. Based on video game logic, it could have happened from anywhere from yesterday to a week ago to 2 months ago. Or in some cases, like, you know, time-traveling games 65 million years ago. Scrap the tanks? What about the tanks? Should I make the reference? Really? Who's the tank? If anyone hasn't seen the video Who's the Tank, search YouTube for Who's the Tank. We'll watch the video, it's funny. Anyway. A courier from Baron. Cecil is ascending to the throne, by popular demand, no doubt. And he's having a wedding, or if he's not having a wedding now, he will eventually, as we'll, you know, eventually find out. Destroy the tanks! Lally-ho! Still prefer Rally-ho myself, but oh well. And this is the only time we actually see Kane with his, without his mask on, or his helmet, or whatever it is. So yeah, he's blonde. Though I guess you could probably tell that from one of his portraits, though I never seem to look at it long enough to figure that out. Anyway, I believe that's Mount Hobbs? Or, no, not Mount Hobbs, Mount Ordeals, that's the one. And there's an astronomer here. What are you looking at? And apparently they gave that guy a name, even though I don't know why. We never really talked to this guy. Is it a reference to something that I'm unaware of? What do you mean, the moon? Huh? What's going on? Are you using this telescope to view the Earth? What's going on here? I don't understand the point of this. Maybe I'm just not, you know, well-versed enough in 16-bit graphics, but, yeah. I don't know what he's looking at here. What are you looking at? There's a blue planet with 2 moons, I guess? Yeah? Oh, there we go. One of the moons disappears. Even though you can't view the Earth from on top of the Earth. Ugh. God, I love to pick games apart. So much fun. Oh boy. Now what? You heard your brother's voice. Wonder if that coincided with the fact that the moon containing the Lunarians is now flying away for unexplained reasons. Well, unexplained at this point in time. And we get the awesome ending theme for all Final Fantasies popping up now. Now, unfortunately, because this is a fan translation and they added some extra dialogue and more screens, the music will eventually stop prior to the sequence being over, the ending sequence. But, you know, it's not too bad. Just because the song plays itself out and there's nothing left to play. I guess they couldn't edit the code enough to make it restart or something like that. Yay! We get a big reunion. I don't know how far in the future this is supposed to be. I'm sure it's answered if you play, you know, the interlude and the after years. I just can't remember off the top of my head. And there we are. The king and the prince. And the dynamic duo. And Edge is pissed that he can't flirt with Rosa anymore. Go figure. Oh well. Yeah, there's a lot of spinning in this sequence and looking around at people and little tiny emoticons. Well, not emoticons, little nodding of heads and spinning and jumping and high-fiving and Palom's the king. Yeah, Palom's the king. Awesome. Palom and Corm have so much fun. Such a great source of comic relief. And would you stop flirting with everything that moves? I don't know. I have a feeling because Luke's playing with dolls that she's supposed to be like, I don't know, like under 8 or 10. If you notice there, Edge turned around. He's trying to deal with his feelings there. Yeah, even a playboy like Edge has feelings. And he's still embarrassed. But yeah, so I always assumed that Luca, because she was playing with dolls throughout, you know, most of the game, or the only time we ever see her, that she's like, you know, 6 to 8, maybe 6 to 10, and I guess Palom is probably the same age, but it just kind of seems weird because he has such a more mature, if immature, personality. He portrays a character that is quite a bit older. Now, I forgot to write down the fact that I wanted to talk about certain things. Do I have my list from Final Fantasy VII still? No. Fine, I'll wing it. Like with Final Fantasy VII, when I did the ending for that game, I wrote down, you know, the different topics I wanted to talk about in the review. So, you know, music and graphics, etc., etc., etc. Since Uematsu is sitting on the screen right there, we might as well talk about music. Music in this game is hard to explain for me. It's never been one of my favorite soundtracks in the series, and I don't really know why. There's not a lot I can put words to that explains why I have an issue with it. And it's not that I have an issue with it. I like the soundtrack. It's good. It's just I find the soundtracks to, you know, say Final Fantasy V, I enjoyed it more. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I enjoyed a lot of the other soundtracks more. And those probably aren't accurate. I was just pulling, you know, the first thing that came to mind out of my head there. But yeah, the game has some good music. However, maybe it's just, it sounds too MIDI-ish, if that's completely horrible, but maybe accurate explanation. It just seems like they're a lot less advanced MIDIs than, say, Final Fantasy VI, for obvious reasons, and even Final Fantasy V, even though they had a similar MIDI sound. At least with Final Fantasy V, there was maybe there's a lot of variety in this game too. It's hard to talk about. I don't know. Anyway, let's see. Music, graphics, pretty much the standard fare. I'd give it, if you want to go out of 10, I'd say maybe an 8 out of 10. It's alright. It's, pretty good. the Final Fantasy series is known far and wide for making great graphics for the time. Whether they age well or not, as in Final Fantasy VII being the case. But yeah, the graphics are alright. Nothing in particularly special that I would say is really great or anything, but they're alright. The story is where I think this game really shines. The story and the battle system, but I'll talk about the story first. The story is a lot of fun. Hey, why is Sephiroth in this game? Anyway, I think this is almost over already, which means I really should have talked faster. Anyway, yeah, so the story, I really enjoyed the story because, they throw out all the references to Star Wars. They know they're making a parody of that. They don't care. There's just, the characters just kind of come alive from the story, and that kind of leads into the characters. The characters are really well created, and they're actually not flat 2D characters like you get in a lot of older RPGs. Like this came out, I think, the first time in 91? Is that right? Yeah, it's toward the start of the Super Nintendo's life, I think. And if you think about it, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past was in that time. And their story is limited to a cutscene at the start of the game, a cutscene in the middle of the game, a cutscene at the end of the game, and every time you beat a dungeon, which you get a little bit of text explaining why you should go to the next dungeon. And that's about it. Well, you get a little more. Anyway, whatever. But yeah, the plot definitely was a lot more advanced and a lot more interconnected, and they had to, use the fact that there was a war, and they had to, bring in all of these characters and have them be able to interact with and react to the war and all be affected by the war so that they could all kind of join together, which again leads into why the characters are so great, because they're, so full of depth and life and character. Like, just look at Palom. At the end of the game, he jumps on the throne. Like, they don't even need words to explain how these characters are well, not necessarily growing, but how these characters are supposed to be. They're not just, oh, this guy, like, you could have just said, Yang was the, say, not the samurai, but the dedicated monk, and he is. But he's got a bunch of other things, he's a very dedicated father. He's, he has a great relationship with his wife, and he's very worried about that. He even has a few comedy moments, especially when you whack him over the head with a frying pan. All the characters have, little tidbits that make their characters that much better, even though they started out as these very generic ideas. Palom is just a goofball. Edge and Sid are womanizers, or whatever the hell it is. But yeah, so that's what I liked about the characters and the story there. The gameplay. If you've watched my Let's Play of Final Fantasy IX, then you already know why I like the battle whole system in this game. It's pretty straightforward. You get characters with classes. They're each useful in certain situations. What I really like about this game is they handicap you a lot of the time. They give you unbalanced party members. They give you the metallic cave or the cave of power or whatever it is, and make it so you can't wear metallic gear throughout it and have to rely on other means. I really, really love the fact that crowd control spells are useful, and they're never this useful ever again. Well, maybe in 12 they're somewhat useful. Not really. 12 sucks anyway. Don't play 12. Yeah, but like the gameplay and the the battle system are probably 1 and 2 with the characters / storyline as the reasons why I love this game as much as I do, and why it's over time it's become higher on my list. Oddly enough, well, not oddly enough, but when I started off with the Final Fantasy series, 7 was actually the first one I'd played. I started with the series on the PlayStation. On the Super Nintendo, I'd never even heard of the Final Fantasy series. I had played Chrono Trigger and Zelda, but other than that, I you know, I hadn't really heard of RPGs, I just knew what I liked. Eventually, once I got 7 and 8, then it took off from there, and I knew what I liked. Knew I liked JRPGs, and I looked for them when I went to, you know, the store or whatever. But yeah, it's, you know, though Final Fantasy 7 and 8, I enjoyed those quite a bit when I first started because, you know, they were easy. You could customize your characters so they could all be the same, and I'm a little bit OCD, so I like being able to do that. However, over time, I've definitely found I've enjoyed it a lot more when characters have a designed class and you have to make use of that class. But I think I've already told that story, or I've told it in my head and then it never made it to the video. Either way. Anyway, the final thing I kind of wanted to mention about this game is... Whoa. People are dropping children on the floor above me. Okay. I'm assuming they're children. There's always children here. My nephews. Anyway, yeah, what did I want to say? Oh yeah, this was kind of a unique thing, doing Final Fantasy 4 and 7 at the same time. Oddly enough, they ended around the same time too, go figure. But I don't want to continue doing that just because it's kind of difficult to put out that many videos and play 2 different games at the same time. So I'm going to go back to the standard format. 1 episode a day in the evenings, and yeah, so by the time this is uploaded, I should have already finished the Final Fantasy, well, I finished recording the end of Final Fantasy 7. I'll make sure that episode goes up before this one, and yeah, that's all for Final Fantasy 4. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit, though trying to remember the bestiary is kind of difficult for this game, which is kind of unfortunate. It's kind of hard to remember, you know, which enemies are susceptible to which, you know, status effects and all that. That's kind of the only downside to the battle system. But yeah, so that's all for this Let's Play, and I'll see you guys next time.